your hard eraser, your kneaded eraser, and your chamois out, okay? What we're looking at is the draped fabric, same as when we do additive, but it's lit from within. So it's easier to assume a dark background. Now when we're looking at draped fabric, we're looking at things that come to peaks and triangles and the valleys that come out of them. So if I'm looking at my form, I'm always going to start with my rule of 3 grid, which we should be sure to erase or darken out by the end of our drawing, okay? But what I'm going to start doing is kind of picking what my subject matter is. And I'm going to kind of mark them out. I like working landscape in this setting. You'll see that my video online, I'm also working landscape. You do not have to. You can work in portrait, okay? But I'm going to wedge my kneaded eraser, and I'm going to turn my tool, because all too often we have a tendency to be like, I am drawing fabric, and then we do this fun little S curve. And we've done it, okay? That's your brain saying, I know what fabric looks like, not I know what this fabric looks like. So what I know is it's very dark towards the top, so I'm going to really pinch my kneaded eraser until I get the shape that I want. And I'm going to hold it in between my hands, and I'm going to turn it. And as I turn it, and see I'm going to need to knead it again, I'm going to create that triangular shape. And I'm going to do that by really carefully looking at where the light is coming from within this. And it doesn't always need to go to my lightest light. Like I can let some stay gray. It doesn't need to be a hard edge. If you want a hard edge, you can also use your hard eraser, which mine has a lot of charcoal buildup on it, right? And I can know that there's kind of something lumpier over here. But you see how I'm still twisting my tool? I can't blow on things in here like I do on my YouTube video. Right? Because when I twist it, it goes from outline, which all of our drawings are still going back to outline. We are drawing objects in space like this, and then for some reason feeling the need to really reinforce them, okay? But they're not, it's not necessary, okay?
I do that.
Yeah, oh yeah, we all do. We all are doing it, and it's because our brain tells us that it doesn't look complete without an outline. Because everything we look at that's artwork that's in our daily life has an outline, okay? But it's not necessary. So what you're gonna do for the first mapping of this project is using just your kneaded or your hard eraser. I'm gonna put that shadow back in so that I still have it. Or, well, it's not even a shadow, it's a highlight, really. Is you're going to use your eraser to find them. There's one that comes from a similar space, but it's working out that way. And you see how I'm like really, like you can hear me touching the surface of my paper. I really use my utensil like it's a chisel, like I'm pulling. My finger is completely in my kneaded eraser, right? I'm gonna do it again, even when it comes to the background. There's a spot in the center where it's kind of glowing. Now I'm just touching my paper to very lightly pull up charcoal listen to how loud my easel is. Like, your boards can take it, your easel can take it. You can be more physical with your drawings, okay? And I'm not gonna re-outline. I'm not going back in yet. We're not there, okay? And then I'm gonna find this side, which has a lot less. I'm just making a small line, very gestural, to give myself an idea of where that edge is. And then I wonder if my chamois will do enough of the work for me instead of my eraser. Still reductive, right? Even using my paper towel. Not additive is the point. But I've pinched it to make a shape. And you see, my wrist is moving, but I'm not making tiny marks. It's my arm that's making the whole mark, okay, as I pull myself on the page. And I've got another one. This is coming up. See? And I'm using this to find all of my latest light spaces. And even if it's close to a line, it's got some thicker shapes to it, okay? And then, I can see another table leg here. Neat. That's why yours are taped and mine is not. Now what I'm doing is, while I'm working on this, I'm making some background decisions. That there's light here too. Okay? How much charcoal builds up on my kneaded eraser? I'm constantly going to be kneading it. I'm going to be using my hard eraser. And I'm going to start dealing with some of my negative space. And see that I'm not like using it the way we use a pencil eraser on a test, where you sit and you make tiny gestural marks. I'm turning it on its side. And I'm making broad chiseling gestures. I feel this in my arms, probably because I don't work out, but you know, we all have our things. Once you get to a point where your shapes are gestured in, and there's more down here, but it's not that important, now I can start bringing in my vine charcoal. I'm going to use my vine charcoal the same way, okay? I'm using the side of the utensil, because too many times we're drawing and then coloring like it's a pencil, okay? We want to actually be able to use the side of this object to come in and start reinforcing where our darkest darks and lightest lights are. Okay? When I'm starting to think about negative space still, right? Like with that white up there. I know it's gonna blend into that. So I can take my chamois, or I can take my finger, and I can start letting it blend out. But even still, I'm not going over and reinforcing this with a line, because right now your instinct would be to, real quick, let yourself know that you have a line there. But I can still see it because my value is different. Okay? It's creating an implied edge. Breaking my charcoal into very tiny pieces when I do this. Again, I can find my darkest dark areas. And at no point am I not moving my whole arm. And you're gonna do this throughout your whole piece. And once you get to the point where you're done with the kneaded eraser, you're done with the fine charcoal, you found all of your full range of value using those utensils, then it's time to bring in your compressed charcoal, because you don't have your full range. You have your darkest dark that vine can give you, okay? I know that this area right here can be my darkest dark. I'm gonna take my compressed in. I'm gonna work it in really tiny circles so that it grits with my vine charcoal. I'm gonna take a small piece of vine charcoal. And I'm gonna blend it out. And if I've come into any space, or if I've made too much of a mess for something to really still be seen, or I feel like I want an outline there, I have my kneaded eraser, and I clean up that edge. I don't outline it, I just clean it up. Because I know that an outline, it doesn't actually do anything to change your value, right? We end up with drawings where it's the same value across the board and all of our shapes are outlined and then a shadow is drawn underneath. But that's not accurate. Everything has different value, and you need to start asking yourself, is this triangular shape lighter or darker than this one? Is this shape, like so shape 1 lighter or darker than shape 2? Is shape 2 lighter or darker than shape 3, which is my negative space? And comparatively until you work up your entire drawing, okay? Also, I'm very zoomed in. Zoom in, pick 1, 2, 3 peaks tops to focus on, because you'll always see more than you expect. I can see a whole like tableau of things back here, but those aren't that important because this is my main actor, all right? These are my actors talking. This is background characters and setting, okay? I think we're good.